On Maruti Suzuki presents ESPN Cricinfo T20 timeout. We look ahead to Australia versus Sri Lanka at Perth. That in itself has three living, breathing entities. There are the two teams, and there's the surface at Perth, Anil Kumble. So let's talk about the pressure for Australia after that thumping against New Zealand. Sri Lanka have got some points. The first question is, how do Australia respond? Do they make changes to their team after one game? Anil.
No, I don't think they'll make any changes to their team after one game. The good part for Australia is, yes, they need to win, and no better place than Perth.
Yeah.
And who are you playing? Sri Lanka. So Sri Lanka is not used to playing on such bouncy tracks, and that's something that probably will play to the advantage of Australia. Having said that, Sri Lanka is a form team. They've won 3 out of 3 in the last 3 matches that they played, other than the hiccup that they had against Namibia. Sri Lanka have qualified. They played more games together. I think Pathum Nissanka should be fit for the game, so he'll come back in. Kusal Mendes is in great form. Rajapaksa is yet to fire. So yes, Sri Lanka have the firepower to upset Australia, but Australia on that surface should play smart and ensure that they get 2 points.
Right, so because I guess it's Perth, you'd be tempted to make no tweaks to that bowling attack. Otherwise, there's an argument that Australia's death bowling is a concern. Pat Cummins always comes under the scanner, IPL or T20I cricket. They have Kane Richardson as an option, but Cummins will be a force at Perth, you think?
I think they won't make changes. It's just been one game. Sure. It was more the batting. Yes, New Zealand got to 200 in that game, but it was mainly in the power play that sort of New Zealand took the game away from Australia. Yeah. But otherwise, you would still want to go with the same attack and same team and hope that they'll do the job at Perth.
Sure. I mean, you'd be a brave man to not want to play a Pat Cummins at Perth, especially with what we saw Mark Wood and co do in that England-Afghanistan game. Sri Lanka, on the other hand, we know that their unfortunate injury news means that there is no Dushmantha Chamira in this tournament now. Some of their strike bowlers are missing, and Thikshana and Hasaranga are essentially their first line of attack. Will these spinners be effective at Perth, Anil?
They'll get a lot more bounce. We've seen Hasaranga go low, and probably in Perth, he'll probably go even lower and then try and get the arm over his shoulder to get the ball through, because his main weapon has been the lack of bounce and the subtle variations that he makes. But Perth, we know that the boundaries are really big. So Australia need to be smart. Just because, yes, Sri Lanka play 2 spinners doesn't necessarily mean that you can hit sixes and the bounce will be true in Perth, so you could get away. But these are big boundaries, so you need to be smarter. We saw how Australia lost out against New Zealand, trying to hit only boundaries and not worry about building an innings. So that's something that I'm sure Australia would learn from and make those changes. But these two are good spinners. On any surface, you should be able to sort of manage. And boundaries are bigger, which means that you have that role that you can sort of take, saying, okay, you want to hit, try and hit me on the bigger side.